Did you know there are exactly 10 questions capable of triggering not just interest but obsession, confusion, and irresistible emotional attraction in a woman's mind? These aren't compliments. They aren't tired pickup lines pulled from dusty corners of the internet. They don't rely on cheesy tactics, corny jokes, or desperate attempts to impress. These questions are strategic weapons, designed to slip past her conscious defenses, to pierce her emotional armor and plant a psychological seed, one she won't even realize is growing, until it's too late. Because while average men ramble on about themselves, hoping to appear interesting, a true strategist understands a deeper truth: power isn't about what you say. It's about what you make others reveal. This is something Machiavelli understood centuries ago. In the realm of human connection, especially seduction, real influence lies in silence, in observation, and in asking the right question at the right time. A woman doesn't fall for the man who talks the most. She bonds with the one who makes her feel. The man who pulls stories out of her that she didn't even know she was ready to share. These 10 questions might sound innocent on the surface, but they awaken something primal. Desire, mystery, tension, vulnerability. They create contradiction in her mind, a tug-of-war between logic and emotion, and that's exactly where obsession is born. But let's be clear, this isn't for boys chasing tricks or gimmicks. This is for men who want to master the psychology of seduction. For men who understand that real attraction happens beneath the surface, in the unconscious mind. That battlefield where words disappear, and feeling takes over. So if you're still watching, I'll assume you want more than surface-level advice. You want the edge. You want what average men never get, true emotional influence. Then you're in the right place. These questions don't come from dating coaches or fluffy relationship books. They come from the darker side of psychology, where power, emotional manipulation, and romantic control intersect. And if you use them with the right delivery, with calm intention, with perfectly timed pauses and unshakable confidence, you'll provoke responses that most men can't even imagine. So if that's what you want, if you're ready to become unforgettable, then listen very carefully. Because what you're about to hear no average YouTube channel will ever teach you. Let's begin. Why most men fail at seduction. Let's start with a harsh truth. Most men fail to seduce because they ask boring, forgettable, safe questions. They stick to the script. What do you do? Where are you from? What's your favorite food? But safety does not create desire, predictability does not create passion, and politeness never made anyone fall in love. If you want to stand out, you must intrigue her. You must provoke something deeper. You need to be the emotional trigger she never saw coming. And that starts with asking the kind of questions she never expected to answer. And now, we reveal the first. Question number 1: what kind of man is hard for you to forget, even if he wasn't good for you? This may look simple. But this one question slices through her surface-level persona like a blade. You're not asking about her dream man. You're not fishing for her ideal type. You're diving deeper, into memory, contradiction, and unresolved emotion. You're asking her to reconnect with the one man who haunted her. The one who made her feel everything all at once, alive, desired, confused, intoxicated. A man she knows wasn't good for her, but who still lives in her mind. Think about it. Every woman has one. A man who, despite his flaws, or maybe because of them, left a permanent emotional imprint. He wasn't safe, he wasn't logical, but he was unforgettable. That's the blueprint of chaos, and chaos is unforgettable. So what happens when you ask this question? She starts thinking. Remembering. Her body reacts before her mind catches up. Her voice may shift. Her eyes may flicker. She's no longer just sitting with a stranger, she's inside a memory. You've taken her there. And do you know who brought her there? You. And because you are the one who opened the door to this emotional vault, her subconscious starts tying the emotion to your presence. You become associated with intensity, with danger, with meaning. You are no longer just a guy. You're the man who made her feel something again. That's not small talk. That's not a pickup line, that's psychological seduction. Use this question irresponsibly, and you destroy the effect. Handle it right, and you'll enter a category of men she rarely meets. So remember these ground rules: do not judge. If she says, "He was a narcissist," don't jump in with advice. Don't play therapist. Do not laugh or mock. This is sacred emotional ground. If she shares, it's because she feels safe enough. Protect that. Do not interrupt. Silence is your friend. Let her think. Let her feel. Let her sink into it. Don't talk about yourself. This isn't a trade-off. Your job isn't to say, "Yeah, I had a girl like that too." No. Stay in her world. She's the movie. You're the screen. Instead, say something subtle like, "That says a lot about what moves you. I like how real you're being right now." That kind of statement deepens the moment. It gives her permission to keep going. To keep revealing. And every new revelation builds intimacy, the kind that no dinner date or polished outfit can create. We've only uncovered the first question, but already, you're starting to see how deep this goes. This isn't about control or manipulation for the sake of it. It's about understanding how emotional connection truly works. How vulnerability, desire, contradiction, and curiosity can be awakened in just one well-placed question. If this resonates with you, if you're the kind of man who wants to play the game not at the surface level, but strategically, then keep listening. Because we still have 9 more questions to go. And each one pulls her deeper into your world. Like and subscribe if you want the rest, because no one else is teaching this level of depth. This is the psychology of desire, and we're only getting started. Second question: what do you think people misunderstand most about you? This question hits at the core of identity. Every woman, every person, has a gap between how they're seen and how they want to be seen. Ask this, and you're no longer just a man showing interest. You become the one person curious enough to uncover the truth beneath her image. What makes this question powerful is it doesn't just give her a platform to speak. It gives her a moment of validation. You're saying, "I know there's more to you than what people see. I'm interested in that unseen part." Psychologically, this creates a deep reward loop. She associates you with relief, with safety, with clarity. And from the lens of Machiavellian strategy, you've flipped the dynamic. Instead of trying to impress her, you've positioned her to prove herself to you, to explain herself, to justify the version of her that's often ignored. You become her mirror. And once someone sees themselves more clearly through you, they rarely forget you. Number 3. Would you rather be loved deeply or understood completely? This is not a casual question, it's a mental riddle wrapped in emotional cloth. Most women are conditioned to seek love. But not all love brings understanding. In fact, many are loved for how they appear, not who they are. This question forces her to pause, think, and dig through her past experiences. Has she been loved, but never truly seen? Or has someone tried to understand her, without ever loving her in return? There's tension here. Internal conflict. And in creating that conflict, you insert yourself as part of the solution, because you're the one who asked. This is exactly what Machiavelli would call creating controlled chaos. By introducing a dilemma that most people avoid, you take her out of autopilot and into emotional engagement. And once she starts thinking about you in the context of such depth, she will begin to wonder if you are capable of both. If you're the rare one who could love her and understand her too. She won't forget that idea. Question 4. If I disappeared tomorrow, what would you remember about me? At first glance, this seems like a humble question. But in reality, it's psychological warfare. You're forcing her to imagine a world without you, even though she has you right now. This creates a moment of loss without loss. An illusion. But the mind responds to illusions just as powerfully as it does to reality. You are triggering nostalgia for a future absence. That's no accident. That's strategy. The question itself places value on your presence. It demands evaluation. If you're just average, she'll shrug it off. But if you've made any impression, even a small one, this question magnifies it. Machiavelli understood this. Men forget the death of their father sooner than the loss of their inheritance. People are emotionally tied to what they fear losing. By making her contemplate your absence, you raise your value. Even silence after this question will feel like a void. Question 5. What scares you the most about falling in love? Now you're digging into vulnerability, not just hers, but love itself. This question doesn't ask what she wants, it asks what she fears. And fear is powerful. She might mention betrayal, loss, abandonment, or losing herself in someone else. Whatever she says, one thing is certain, she will reveal what she guards most closely. And you'll be there, listening, absorbing, understanding. But remember, don't offer comfort, not yet. Machiavellian power lies in holding space, not in fixing. She needs to sit with that fear while you remain calm, grounded. This is where emotional dominance is built, not by overpowering, but by outlasting discomfort. She'll connect safety with your presence. And that's how obsession begins, not through pleasure, but through the relief of fear in your company. Number 6. What's one thing you wish men understood about women? This question isn't just insightful, it's explosive, because it shifts the entire frame of the conversation. You're not positioning yourself as another man trying to get her attention. You're positioning yourself as someone trying to understand something men usually ignore. That alone separates you from 99% of men she's ever talked to. But here's where it gets deeper. By asking this, you allow her to unload her frustrations, not just about past relationships, but about a lifetime of being misunderstood, judged, underestimated, or sexualized. This question offers her an emotional release. And when that happens, the subconscious registers one thing: you are not like the others. You become a symbol of understanding, possibly the only one who ever asked her this without an agenda. Machiavelli would advise this question for one reason. When you allow others to reveal their pain to you, they begin to trust you, not because you healed them, but because you didn't run when they showed you their scars. That is emotional power. 7. When was the last time someone truly surprised you? Surprise is the emotional twin of curiosity. And curiosity, as every strategist knows, is the fuel of obsession. This question doesn't just ask for a story, it asks her to revisit the exact moment her expectations were shattered. Whether good or bad, she must now relive a time when something, or someone, made her feel alive again. And once she recalls that moment, a shift occurs. She becomes emotionally elevated and you're sitting right there, receiving that energy. But here's the hidden play: you are not just a passive listener. You're implanting a seed. Now she starts comparing that memory to you. Could you be the next person who surprises her? You framed yourself in that position, without saying a word. You are no longer safe. You are unpredictable. And unpredictability is addictive. As Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But if you can create anticipation, you become irresistible." 8. What's the most rebellious thing you've ever done? This one unlocks the shadow. Every woman, no matter how proper, polished, or composed, has a side she keeps hidden. A wild side. A secret. A moment of rebellion that made her feel alive, powerful, or dangerous. This question invites her to reconnect with it. To relive it. But here's the twist: most men fear that side of a woman. They try to tame it, judge it, or avoid it altogether. You're encouraging it. That makes you different. More dangerous. And in her mind, the only man who can handle the version of her that she usually hides. Now, here's the Machiavellian layer: by allowing her to share her rebellion with you, you build a private conspiracy. A shared truth. Something just between the two of you. This creates what psychologists call emotional exclusivity. And Machiavelli would call it a hidden alliance. That is the root of loyalty, not in control, but in complicity. 9. If you had total freedom for 24 hours, no judgment, no consequences, what would you do? This is not a question. It's a release valve. You're asking her to imagine a world without shame. Without boundaries. A world where she can finally be herself, fully, loudly, unapologetically. And whatever she says, whether it's traveling the world, confronting an ex, dancing naked in the rain, or disappearing entirely, it's going to reveal what she craves most but doesn't allow herself to have. Now you know what she's running from or running toward. This gives you a psychological advantage. You've seen her uncensored self, even if only in theory. But more importantly, you've shown her something few dare to offer: freedom. And as Machiavelli knew, men are driven by two things: the desire for gain and the fear of loss. Give someone a taste of freedom, and they'll crave it. Associate that freedom with you and they'll crave you. 10. Why do you think we met? This final question doesn't just close the loop, it pulls her into something larger. You're no longer two strangers talking. You're two characters in a story. You're inviting her to assign meaning to this moment. And once she does, it becomes more than chance, it becomes fast. Psychologists call this retrospective coherence, the tendency of people to look back and impose meaning on random events. It's the same reason we think things happened for a reason. Ask this and she'll search for one. And whatever reason she gives, it will tie her emotions to your presence. Rule 1. From a Machiavellian standpoint, this is the most dangerous move of all. You are no longer a person, you become a chapter in her story. A symbol. A turning point. And people never forget the moment the plot changed. Now you have the questions. But questions are only as powerful as the man who asks them. And that's where most people fail. They talk too much. They chase reactions. They try to win her over instead of letting her fall into the mystery. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. Information is power. But silence? Silence is dominance. Let me give you the 3 iron rules you must follow if you want these questions to drive her crazy, in the way that keeps you in control. Each question you ask is like lighting a fuse. But most men can't stand the silence that follows. They panic. They interrupt. They explain. Don't. The silence that comes after a deep question is the exact moment her brain starts working for you. She's thinking. Remembering. Comparing. Imagining. Let her swim in that silence. Even if it's awkward. Especially if it's awkward. Because silence creates pressure. And under pressure, the truth comes out. Machiavelli taught us, he who knows how to wait will master those who are in a hurry. Your job isn't to chase her answers. Your job is to create the space that asterisk makes her want to answer. Rule 2. Listen like a spy. Observe what she's not saying. Words are surface. Emotions are the ocean beneath. When she responds, listen, not just to the words, but to the tone. The pauses. The facial expression. The shift in posture. Does she hesitate before answering? Does her voice drop when speaking about love? Does she look away when mentioning her past? Every flicker of discomfort is a signal. Every smile that fades too fast is a door left half open. Machiavelli would remind you, men are governed by the same passions now as they were then. It's not what they say, it's what they reveal without meaning to. Your power comes from reading between the lines and filing that information away for later. Use it to know what she fears. What she wants. What she hides. You are not just talking. You are gathering intelligence. Rule number 3, never try to impress. Let her chase the mystery. This is the deadliest mistake of all, trying to be liked. The moment you try to impress her, you've flipped the game. Now she holds the power. She's the prize. You're just another performer on her emotional stage. But if you ask these questions calmly, without showing neediness, without oversharing, and without reacting too much, she starts to wonder. Who is this man? Why does he feel so composed? Why does he ask questions that no one else dares to? Why does it feel like he's seeing through me? Congratulations. You've become the enigma. Not desperate. Not cold. Just unreadable. And in a world full of predictable people, that's pure oxygen. Machiavelli would say, "It is better to appear wise than to appear kind." Why? Because wisdom makes people follow you. Kindness alone just makes them feel safe. Let her feel the tension. Let her wonder about your past. Offer glimpses, not confessions. Be present but never fully there. That's the art of psychological gravity. People don't obsess over what they understand. They obsess over what they can't quite figure out. And that's exactly what you are becoming. Final Machiavellian reminder: you are the frame, not the painting. These questions are not about the answers. They're about the emotional state they create. If you react too strongly, if you get too emotional, if you talk about yourself too much, you lose the upper hand. Because power isn't in the words. It's in the frame. And you are the frame. You decide the pace. You set the tone. You decide when to lean in and when to pull back. That subtle dance between interest and detachment is the drug. And once she's hooked on it, you don't need to say much at all. You've already won the game.